And in the context of Ecuador's runoff elections, we contact now Juan Carlos Valarezo, chair of the International Relations Department at the Pontificia Universidad Católica del Ecuador. Hi, Professor. Thank you for your time hearing from the South.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Professor, how would you describe Ecuador's political panorama? What is at stake today for Ecuadorians?
Well, this has been called the most important election in the history of Ecuador. We've never seen a really tight runoff between Luisa González and Daniel Noboa. The country is really polarized, and therefore the elections are very crucial.
Current President Daniel Noboa and Luisa González from the Citizen Revolution Movement are facing each other once again after 2023 early elections and also after the first round of this current electoral process, which took place in February. What's different on this occasion, and how would you describe both candidacies at this point?
What I consider to be different from the elections that took place in 2023 is the fact that Daniel Noboa has already been in the government. This has given the people the opportunity to see his government style, his actions, and therefore the reason why there is now more distrust. He's lost a little bit of popularity compared to when he won the presidency the first time. I see both candidates in a very polarized situation right now. They are both attacking each other. If you recall the presidential debate that took place 3 weeks ago, it was a very disappointing one where people were left with more uncertainty than clarity as to who to vote for. During the time of the campaign, none of the candidates really focused on the proposals they wanted to do. It is not up until the last couple of weeks when they started really establishing their priorities should either of them win. I consider Daniel Noboa a president that's reacting to this election in a way where just take last week's decision, for instance, where even though we are right now in a state of insecurity, as your audience probably knows, he's declared another executive decree declaring the state of emergency. This is the 9th one in his 15 months of government, and this is very troublesome for many, especially given the context of the election, where 9 of the provinces that are recalled on this state of emergency decree happen to be provinces where Luisa González won the election in the first round.
You've mentioned the uncertainty, you've mentioned the reactions that have been taking place in the country. How could those different approaches by both candidates be decisive on today's outcome, and how it's going to tilt the election results today?
Well, we have to consider that there is a big percentage of people who either annulled their votes or who voted blank in the first round of election. I think this is a key target of the electorate that neither of the candidates have really been focusing on, especially because this population is the one that doesn't agree with either of them. Another element that it's important to mention is the fact that the vote for either Luisa González or Daniel Noboa comes from people who are not really trusting their candidate, the one they're voting for, but they're voting so the other one doesn't win. And that's something that really worries me because it's not really a vote of confidence. It's a vote of distrust that the other one could win. In that way, I consider the election right now to be very uncertain, very unexpected, because the margin of difference between both candidates is just so little that you have no way of really figuring out. Even though the last polls, up until the moment when you could publish them, most of them gave Luisa González the win, the difference is just by decimals. So as we've had the experience with the American election, with the Ecuadorian election in the first round, polls are not really the source of information anymore, where you could really decide who's going to win.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor, for your time hearing from the South.
Thank you very much for having me.
We were speaking to Juan Carlos Valarezo, chair of the International Relations Department at the Pontificia Universidad Católica del Ecuador, in the context of this election day.